Okay, so welcome back to the next class. In the first class, we mainly discuss about set, binary operation, and then we discuss something about groups, which is a very important concept. Now we extend this concept and let me define another thing, which is ring. Now ring is slightly different than group. So let me first say R is a set of element A, B, C and all these things, and here instead of one binary operation we should have two binary operation. There are two binary operation. I say binary operation BO because I need to write this binary operation word several times, so cut it short, so it is BO, which is plus and dot. Now if R is a set of all these elements with these two binary operation, then I should start writing the properties. So what are the properties to form this set R a ring? So the properties are A plus B belongs to R, standard thing. 2 A plus B plus C is equal to A plus B plus C, associative. Third one is A plus say minus A, say let us write it as A prime, say E, better to write it E, say E plus A is equal to A. So this identity element is there, I called it E. 4 A plus A star is equal to A star plus A is equal to E. 5 A plus B is equal to B plus A. So essentially what I am doing, that I am writing all the properties that a group can form. So R essentially forming a group with this plus operation. So this plus binary operation, they are forming a group. What about the other thing, because the dot is also there. So 6 A star B belongs to R. Quite trivial, because A star B is another operation, star is another operation. I am taking two elements. So these two elements, when they are integrated with this operator, this binary operation star, I will get another quantity A star A dot B, which also belongs to this set R. A star B star C is A star B star C. In star, they are following the associative rules. So first is the closure property, that is followed by this, and second thing is the associative. So they are associative. 8. This is very important. This is very important. Why this is important? Because the first time I am applying these two binary operation together. Up to 7 I operate only one operation here, and from here I will operate another operation star dot. Now I am associating this plus and dot together, and now if I do that, then I will say this is the property that it should hold. So this property also has some name, it is called distributive property. So they are distributive. So now if a set R is following all these rules, then they are called ring. We need to know this concept of ring very clearly, because ring is a very important concept. As I mentioned, this is where I am associating two different operators, one is star and another is plus. After the concept of ring, I will again try to form something different, which is called field. I write F. So, here let us consider F is a set of elements A, B, C and so on, which is a different set. Also, two binary operations are associated with this this set, like the ring. Now, if they follow these rules, I should write the same thing once again. Let me first write and then I am going to explain what is exactly going on here. Up to this is exactly like ring. So, all the properties that ring followed, the field is also following the same property when I am applying the plus or addition operator over the elements. Then the rest of that closure property, associative property, these two properties are also hold. They are commutative also. And also I should say they are distributive. So, all the properties that a ring followed here up to here, at least they are following the same things. So, nothing new. Only thing is that in order to form a field, I have these things also. I have in with star operation, I have an element say E. Here if I write E, I should not write it here E. So, it should be different, say E tilde, E tilde. I just make sure that whatever the identity element I have in plus operation, it is not necessarily the same thing in same element for this dot operation. So, in order to distinguish this at this, I put a tilde over that, but this is a different element. You should know that, you should recognize that this is a different element, it may not be the same. So, these things gives me these things written back, and finally I will have something which is again a prime tilde, because a prime I have already used here as a inverse element. So, inverse element here is for dot operation, you should note that E tilde, where these elements has to be. So, for we need to make a comment on that, because this is a very important property that even under multiplication I can have inverse. This only possible for all non-zero elements. In the field, if there is some zero elements, so normally our normal perception is that whenever I will try to multiply some number with the inverse of that number, so that I can return back 1 here. Normally 1 is a multiplicative identity. If I multiply a with 1, then I will return back a. So, if I want to return back 1 here, I need to multiply something which is 1 by a. Now, if so, a tilde prime is nothing but 1 prime, 1 by a in normal sense. If that is the case, then if a is 0, then never have this inverse. So, that is why specially I need to put a condition that for all non-zero elements this is true, for all non-zero element this is true. So, they are, if all these properties hold, then the elements are forming fields. Now, let us go back to the example, it is better. So, all these theoretical things is okay, but unless we put some kind of example, then it is difficult. However, the examples are quite trivial and quite simple. So, let us say my set is again the real number, all the real number minus infinity to plus infinity, this. So, now if this is my set and my operation is plus and dot, where plus is my additive addition, standard addition, and dot is multiplication, then I can check that all these properties are following. So, let me start with this existence of identity and existence of this inverse, which are the critical property that a set has to follow to be a field, because these are the things it is difficult to find, other things comes naturally. So, let us concentrate on that. So, it is quite trivial for R. When I try to find out the identity element, it is nothing but 0. So, whatever the quantity, say A plus 0 is equal to 0 plus A is A. So, here 0 is the identity element for plus operation. Fine. Now, what about the inverse? It is quite trivial that if I take A and if I take minus A, which is again a quantity in real number, whatever the A you think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 according to your choice, then I will have this. So, this quantity is minus A is the inverse of that particular element. So, these two follows. What about the multiplicative identity and multiplicative inverse? So, as I mentioned, A star 1 is equal to 1 star A is equal to A. So, 1 is here identity element for dot or multiplication operation, dot operation. Again I can have this quantity which return me back 1. So, I can have one element 1 by A. If I multiply this to A, then I return back my identity element. So, this is the inverse. So, 1 by A will be inverse. Please again note that if A is 0, then this will not going to happen, but when I define field, I say for not all non-zero element, this is true. So, since it is true for all non-zero element, I safely say that this A is non-zero. Since A is non-zero, this is true. If it is 0, then it is difficult, but my definition also exclude this point 0. So, no problem with that. So, we find that real number, set of real number can form a field. Set of real number can form a field. This is a very important concept. Also, if I do, then we will find that set of all complex numbers where A, B belongs to real numbers, set of all complex number, this is a set of all complex numbers, they can also form a field. So, real number can form a field. In the same way, I need to check all the all the properties, so that they can form a field, all these 10 or 11 properties, and if you do that, you will find that the C, which is the set of complex number, can also form a field. This is also we need to know that the real number can form a field as well as the complex number can also form a field. Now, after having the knowledge of this field, we are now very close to something very important, and which is a vector space. So, now how the vector space will form? So, let us check. So, now vector space. So far whatever we have learned is related to set, then binary operation, then ring, then field. All of these things has some properties. Now I am saying that after having the knowledge of all these things, now I am going to construct something called vector space, and let us try to find out how to define a vector space with using the concept so far we have learned. So say V is a set of element alpha, beta. I call this element as the vector element, say vector element. That is why I put a vector sign. This is, please do not confuse with a normal vector, this can be anything. We will show an example that this vector space not only for the standard vector we know which has a direction and magnitude, but the matrix 2 by 2 matrix or n by n matrix also form a vector space, which are following this definition can be a vector space. This is not necessarily that all the vectors we know is forming the vector space. Obviously this is the element that will form a vector space and we will deal with that, but you should note that it is not always true that only these elements form the vector space. So these are the elements, we call this as the vectors, and I also have a field with the element A, B, C and all these things. To distinguish two elements, one is alpha beta and another is ABC. So just to distinguish that these two are different set. Normally it is called the scalar. After that, after defining these two, I need to define two operations which is very important. One is plus these things which is the operation, and another is dot these things. I put a sign over that plus and then a circle over that and dot circle over that to distinguish the fact that this is not a normal plus operation or a normal dot operation, because in earlier classes we show that vector addition is also defined by plus, but this vector addition plus sign whatever we are using as a addition is not critically the normal addition we know. It is not 2 plus 5 is equal to 7, it is something different. Two vectors when are added they have a rule. So this, in order to distinguish these two things, I need to put a different sign instead of using plus. Okay, so this rule suggests that if I take a element from vector and if I operate these things to another vector, it will give me a vector. This is the way to write the rule. What is the rule of this plus? If I take a plus rule is applied on this vector set of vectors. So I apply this plus over these elements, and as a result whatever the element I will get, that should be vector itself. In the similar way, dot is something that I will take one element f and then I will take another element from this vector, one element from field, one element from this vector, and then whatever the result I will get is a vector. This is the rule. So that means, essentially means, if I operate this star with this and this, as a result what I am getting is a vector. This is the rule you should remember. Now if V and F are following these rules with this operation plus and dot, then I should say that they also follow the others. We need to check what is going on for other rules. So first rule is, say, alpha plus beta belongs to V, which is trivial. That alpha is a vector element, beta is a vector element. I am associating these two vector elements with my plus operation according to the rule that if these two elements are from vectors, whatever the result I will get should be a vector. 2 alpha plus beta plus gamma is equal to alpha plus beta, the associative rule that we already defined. So okay, fine. 3 is alpha star theta. Theta is something, some element here. If I add these two things, I will have theta, I will return back alpha. 4 I will return back theta. So, all the things, it is not a very new thing, already we have a prior idea about what is going on here. So, I am just writing the same thing once again, but you should remember this plus sign is now changed, one thing, and second thing, one dot operation is also there, which I need to associate it with this and this, that I will do just a minute, within a minute. And finally, all these 5 rules are followed. So, now what about the start thing? So, now I will associate these things, which is important. Now, I am associating one element from field and another element from vector. So, now this operation is important, because I am associating one element from field, which I call scalar, with a vector, and this is the rule that when I operate these two things, the resultant thing will be something which belongs to vector. So, this quantity is eventually in vector. So, say A star alpha gives me something gamma. So, gamma is a element of vector. 7 also it is something if I associate A with some of these two things, so distributive things will also follow. So, I should write this plus this. So, what is the meaning of that? That two elements are there in the vector space, in this set of vectors. I should not call it vector space right now. Now, if I add these two things, some element will be there, which is also according to this rule, they will be the element of vectors. Now, I associated A with that vector with this sign, and when I do that, this comes to be distributive. So, I will have individually one element and another element, both this element will be vector element, and since both this element will be vector element, this should be associated with this plus sign with a circle. That means, this is a vector quantity, this is a vector quantity, and according to our rule, those two vector quantity, when they are associated, they are associated with this plus. So, that means, these distributive things are there, it is okay. So, now if these few features are followed, then we can say safely that this is a very important statement I am going to make. So, you can check that this plus under plus, all these things are making forming a group. So, vector itself is forming a group with this plus operation, and also some distributive law are associated with this field, which we call the scalar. So, some distributive law is associated. Not only that, when I associated one quantity from field to another quantity vector, the resulting thing become a vector, which seems to be quite trivial, because for example, a vector, normal vector, say, let me give a very simple example, say 3i plus 4j. This is a vector normally we use in physics. This kind of notation are always used. Ij are basis, we will come to this point later, but let us consider this is a vector. Now, if I multiply any quantity, scalar quantity, real number, say 4 multiplied by a, this is quite simple, and you can say that this is quite trivial, that they will multiply and I will have another quantity which is vector. So, this quantity is nothing but a vector with some values. You can calculate the values also, but this, it's, as I mentioned, it is may not true for all the vector elements. It is this vector is not a normal vector. This is a standard vector with direction and amplitude. It may not be true for all the cases. So in that case, this property is important. So let me give you some example, but before that I need to make a very important comment. If these properties are followed, then we can say that vector, the set V forms a vector space. This is very important term, vector space over the field if. Whenever I am saying that V is forming a vector space, I should mention over which it is forming. It is forming a field F. Now you remember that F can be two types, real quantity and also the complex quantity. So this is important, that if which is a set of few elements which are real, if F elements of F rather elements of F is real, then the field over which it is generating, the vector space is generating over a field F. Now I am saying that my F is real, then this vector space is called real vector space. Real vector space. Now if element of F is complex, we have already seen that the field can be formed by real quantity also and the complex quantity also. If the components of this field is complex, then we can say the vector space that is formed over the field F is complex vector space. Which is very important in quantum mechanics. In quantum mechanics, you should know that at this point I should mention that for physics this complex vector space is very important, because in quantum mechanics the state function psi is considered to be a vector. It is not, obviously it is not a normal vector you think of, it is a state vector, and this state vector are forming a vector space over complex field. So that is why it is under complex vector space. So this term is important in quantum mechanics. However, in normal cases we always deal with this real vector space. So before going to finish this class, so I will give you two important examples of this vector space. One example is, as I already deal with these things, the normal vectors. Normal vectors means what? Which has direction and amplitude. So they are forming the vector space, they are forming the real vector space or complex vector space, depend on what is the element of this field. If they are, the element of the field is real, they are forming the real vector space. If they are complex, they are forming a complex vector space. Apart from that, I can put another example. This is example 1 and this is example 2. It is the matrix. Any n by m matrix can form a vector space. So here I should put the emphasis that it is not necessarily that whenever you learn the word vector, that essentially means the vector which has the direction and amplitude. Rather, there are many other elements which can form a vector space. For example, matrix of n by n, all this set of matrix with real coefficients. For example, a matrix, if I write a 2 by 2 matrix, say M is a 2 by 2 matrix whose elements is represented by M11, M12, M21, M22, like this. So they can form, I mean this is a structure 2 by 2 structure, and based on the value of m I can form an infinite number of matrices, and all these are elements of a vector space. They are forming a vector space. Why they are forming a vector space? Because all the properties that we have discussed in few minutes ago can be followed by this can be obeyed by this structure of matrix also. It is not necessarily it is a 2 by 2, it will be any dimension, say m by n also in general. Identity element, you can readily find that if I add 2 matrix, these 2 matrix will give me another matrix which is of 2 by 2 order. If I add a matrix say in this form, this is also an element of 2 by 2 matrix, and this behave like identity. Any matrix, not this one rather, it will be behave like a matrix which if I add any matrix with that, then as a result I will return back the same matrix m 2 by 2. On the other hand, I wrote the 1 1 which is the identity matrix. If I multiply these two things, then again I return back the same thing. So this 0 matrix or null matrix is behave like a additive identity, whereas this matrix which I wrote earlier will be behave like a identity for multiplication. So the point is that it is not necessarily true that only the vectors can form vector space. Here vectors means which has a sign and direction. Matrices are also another kind of elements that can form the vector space. So I would like to conclude this class here. So in the next class what I will discuss is very important, that when now the vector space is formed. So the concept of vector space, you know that a vector is something which a vector space is something which can form over a real or imaginary field. If it is formed over a real field, we call it a real vector space. If it is in a complex field, rather I should not say the imaginary, I should say the complex, then it should form a complex vector field, a complex vector space. So in the next class what I will do, that I will start from this concept of vector space and find something related to its spanning, how the concept, when I say vector space, that means some kind of space is there. So how this space is defined, what is the dimension of this vector, how to define the dimension of this vector, and what is linearly independent, dependent vectors, all this important concept will come together, because now the association of these things, scalar and vector, I introduce. So you know that a vector can be associated with the scalar also, which looks to be very trivial, but we will go to further and further, and starting from a linear combination of the vector, we will try to find out how these things is important in defining a dimension of the space. And also I will going to define something called inner product and all these things, which is also very interesting. So with that, so let me conclude this class. So in the next class we will start from here, and we would like to learn how the space is defined, what is the dimensionality and all these things. Thank you for your kind attention. So see you in the next class.